So first, Lori, welcome. I'm finally meeting you. I've known Brian for quite a few years. Um, this is a short presentation on a product called Impact Health. For me, it's probably, and I have just as a quick background. I founded hisadvocates.org.tv. I've started my own network television. We're on about 800 million TVs across the world over the last 5 years. My heart is to preserve a biblical approach to completely living out every element of our beliefs for the Word of God. I've been a believer for 30 plus years, since the age of 22, so 33 years. Actually, I've been a believer my whole life. I actually gave my heart to the Lord fully at 22. Um, but in the last 5 years, it's become really important for me to make sure I'm not giving money to um, well, people that I don't think are doing God's work or God's will, and quite frankly, might be using it for evil or using it for sinful purposes. And health insurance was one of them. I was very concerned about the high cost of health insurance. And if you know the word, and understand some of what is coming, or what is nerve-wracking for a lot of people, is a potential mark, a potential chip, a potential whatever it might be biblically, or the threat of from our government is to lose our job if we don't do certain things. And one of them is they just recently started threatening the removal of our health coverage if we don't have a digital ID. And digital ID is, in my opinion, a precursor to something much more biblical. And with that being said, I thought, okay, there is a big need for health coverage, health insurance. There's not necessarily um, a need for what they say, but nevertheless, people believe that they need health coverage, and I'm very much a proponent for that. Out here in California, the average cost of insurance has gotten to the point for a small family of about 2,500 to 3,500 a month, and it's atrocious. It's above anything. But the bigger thing for me is Blue Cross Blue Shield, the monster that they are. They have just recently come out with a campaign supporting gender affirming ID, different things that would cover costs of surgeries without parental consent for both abortion and gender transforming surgeries. And I'm going to remain neutral on that. I'm not going to give an opinion on that, except I don't need to. If it for me, if it's against what I believe spiritually or from the word standpoint, I definitely don't want to support it. And so I started seeking out several years ago and started a company called Health Coverage Foundation. And Health Coverage Foundation, and the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds so far have gone to um, finding children that have been kidnapped. And every year in this nation, we have over 500,000. And this is FBI's website, not mine. Children disappear a year. And that is a much bigger problem than anything we're going to discuss today. But we utilize the compensation that we derive from this to help in those efforts in a big way. So on that note, what I'm going to do is share my screen, and I'm going to show you a comprehensive medical plan that absolutely blows away the market for health insurance. And what this company has done is they took health insurance, they copied it, and they made 2.0, and they used patents that I'll explain at the end here to keep the cost down to about a third of what we have. Number one. Number two, it's a 501c. Number three, they are Christian based, except they accept everybody. They don't They don't make a pastor sign that this person goes to church like other med share companies do. They accept everybody, every religion, every creed, which is really a biblical position to stand on, and I like that. But they offer an amazing, amazing plan. It's and these are the benefits listed out, and I'm going to read them quickly. And if you need me to stop on any of them and extrapolate, let me know. It's a free annual exam, free blood panel. You can go on the phone 24/365 with an MD, unlimited visits annually for free. Dental and vision discount cards, 30 to 60% off. The pricing is amazing. There's the pricing on the RX prescription drugs, amazing, like better than Costco. Open network. This is uncomparable to anything out there. You have HMO, you have PPO, then you have open network. Nobody has open network. This is the only company in all of the United States that I know of that is an open network where you can pick your doctor, call them up, and get them, if they're not already approved, get them approved with Impact. Let them do whatever they do. They're going to negotiate their rates with Impact. I just posted a chiropractic video where Impact pays chiropractors up to 3 times what they would be paid through other insurance companies. So Impact's heart and desire is to see people healthy naturally instead of always going to see an MD when there's a problem. Nevertheless, you can pick your own doctor. You can find a specialist for ears, nose, and throat, a foot specialist, a bone specialist, whatever you're thinking is going on, and go and see them. Nationwide access to all networks, no restrictions whatsoever. A concierge service. As a matter of fact, what they're going to do, I think starting November 1, is contact your doctor and get them set up in the system and prepay your first visit with the doctor. Office visits are normally $50. Urgent care, 75, specialist 75, outpatient 75, ER and inpatient 150. All of these are higher with Blue Cross and Blue Shield by 3 times. As a matter of fact, ER is $600 out of pocket. What's that?
Not with my policy with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
How much is yours for ER?
I would have to go pull the new paperwork, but I know my office visits are 25 to 30.
Yeah. But ER?
I don't know. I would have to go over to my office and pull my paperwork because I was just starting to look at it for our enrollment.
Excellent. Do me a favor, look at the card. Generally, the card is what has that information on it. If not the paperwork, check it out. But again, we're free for phone visits. We do a free annual exam, blood panel, and then anytime that you're going to want to go see your doctor, obviously, if you have a specialty issue, it's going to be a $50 or a $75 visit. I guarantee Blue Cross Blue Shield is more on that level. If they're not on the doctor visit, they're only $20 on the doctor visit. Just wait till you see the rest of what we talk about to understand why the payment savings and the cost savings are by far better on this plan. But I'll go into all that. Like for example, a household PRA, which is a deductible in insurance terms, as low as $2,500 a year. You can go up to $10,000 per year. After the PRA, it's a 90-10 co-share with a max out of pocket for $5,000 for the entire family. Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield 80, 20, 70, 30, and 50-50 in some cases. 50 therapy visits per year per member. That includes outpatient therapy, but chiropractic, physical, vision, occupational, speech, respiratory therapy, cardiac. They will actually issue a health and wholeness credit up to $100 a month for your gym memberships, your vitamins, your holistic, your essential oils, whatever it may be. You can take those receipts, load them up, and it'll take $100 a month off your deductible. All of these come off of your deductible, 100%. So like your chiropractor, you would pay a chiropractic visit. They negotiate the chiropractor 3 times the normal amount, so like say about $170 for a visit or whatever. That comes off the deductible. So you get starting plans are $73 for an individual, $378 for a family. Obviously, those are $10,000 deductible, and I'll share with you what the cost. No additional charge for a fourth person on in a family or a household. And people that are immigrants, they just need a tax ID and identification, and they can qualify. So you do not need to be an American in order to qualify. Now, what I've done here is, if you would like, as an example, you take a family, a 35-year-old, some in the neighborhood of born 1990-ish, 01, you do 1990, and they're a family of 5. $2,500 deductible, $576 a month, or $404 a month for a $10,000 deductible. So it's by far, it's a makes sense. You can do the same for somebody who is, working on, like, what is let me ask you this, Brian, what's your date of birth?
January 18th, 1960.
So let me change it to 1. Sorry, get a quote. It's not a 1. Oh, it is a 1. Okay. So 426 primary, $2,500 deductible, $288 a month for a $10,000 deductible. Again,
Yeah, that's because I'm old.
Yeah, well, we're all getting there. But as you see, it's still extremely inexpensive. What, if you don't mind me asking, Lori, what is your monthly payment?
193, plus then I put money in an HSA.
So it's done through the church?
Yes, I don't have a choice.
Okay,
As a full-time pastor in the United Methodist Church, I have to take their insurance, but we have 6 different plans that we can pick from.
okay. And
It's 193.
The health insurance, plus I put money back in the HSA.
yeah,
To
what is
cover
what is the average amount for the HSA you're putting back into?
I put 200 a month in,
So you're at about 3 something. What's the year of your birth?
63.
Okay, so you're about the same from a standpoint of out-of-pocket expenses for yourself. And what is your deductible?
2,500.
Right. So you're right at about the same, except they're putting money in on their side too for you as well. And so
No, I put the 200 in.
no, I know. I'm just saying
Oh, okay.
they're doing a credit on their end for health insurance for their pastors. I'm sure it's like 50 minimum percent. If it's a health plan through the church. But the reality is you're right at about the same from a cost out of pocket for yourself. You're paying the 190 plus you're paying. So we're saving you about $20 a month. Not a big deal, but the quality of the plan is the big deal. And I understand that a lot of times you get these 6 different plans to choose from. That's what a lot of big businesses, big churches, they do, is they'll add on another plan through the HR department to give people a choice of what they can pick. And then the company or the church will then be responsible for X amount and do a credit of X amount in a check. Do you get any any other plans? Does it include dental, vision, everything?
I pay a little bit extra for vision. I don't have dental at this point in time because I've never needed it.
Good for you. Good for you. I gotta be honest, I gotta go to the dentist next week. I'm not looking forward.
Well, I just had a couple of things done, so, but this is the first.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, it's been literally, and I brush and floss and I don't feel any pain. I just do not like the dentist, and it's not because of pain or anything. It's just whatever. It's just a time consuming thing, but we all got to do it. Nevertheless, they,
Well, I have a stressful life, so I grind my teeth at night while I sleep. So I broke two because of that.
oh, that stinks. That stinks.
It
Anyway,
does.
so the average family going to your church, and here's the thought process, and it's not just a thought process, it's a functioning system that works for churches. Churches are in generally speaking about tithing and generally receiving tithing from their members. The average church is receiving about the tithing amount varies, but about 7 to 10% of the church total. So out of every 100 people going to the church, maybe 7 to 10 of them are tithing. Now that's a statistical average that I heard of. I have no idea if that's correct or not. I'm I'm not at all worried about that. But what I'm thinking of is there are pastors that are now taking the approach of helping their parishioners vote with their dollars. And instead of us affirming Blue Cross and Blue Shield and what they believe in, or going to Target and shopping at Target with all the stuff they're doing and advertising the agendas they're advertising in the kids clothing area, both satanic and homosexuality agendas. Now that's a hard approach to take in some churches or to even deal with in some churches, but nevertheless we should be wanting to, as a church, giving the opportunity for the parishioners to vote with their dollars. And this private health care does not support affirming care, transgender affirming care. They don't support abortions. They will not pay for them. And they do support helping one another. And so the CEOs are not making billions of dollars. They are paying all of the claims that fit within the guidelines, unlike Blue Cross Blue Shield. And as a matter of fact, it's become one of those things to where they have not only not paid all their claims, but they haven't even raised the amounts of money that it's costing people since their inception over almost 6 years ago. So what happened is from a major private healthcare company, the CEO and the president left and started Impact, and they collected amongst themselves 7 patents, and they have afforded Impact the ability to do what Impact is doing, which is really game changing the way people are looking at private health coverage, because the average person that we're talking to, we're saving not $20 on their premium, we're saving 70%. The average, we can say confidently 50%. So when we are talking to a family or that's going to your church, number one, that family has an opportunity to vote with their dollars, and by doing so, they will be supporting the church. And so what churches are doing is they're becoming an IBO, and they're using their own link. And an IBO is an independent business organization for Impact. And they're using their own link. And then they talk about the need for people to consider, if they cannot tithe or if they're not tithing, to consider utilizing Impact as a health coverage opportunity for themselves, because number one, they're going to save 50% off their bills. And with what's happening in the next 2 to 3 years with the change of going from fiat into digital currency, that's absolutely done. The change of economics from this nation standpoint into a world order standpoint. I hate to say it, and I don't want to argue the point with anybody, and I hope I'm wrong, but transitioning to a new world order. There's the BRICS nations. The petrodollar just got flushed as of November 1. So the valuation of the American dollar is going to dump fast. And people all over are going to be struggling, especially churches, because the first things that get cut life insurance, car payments, insurance payments, tithing, you know, the things that are easy to cut. The things that are not going to cut is health coverage, because they're going to be talking pandemics again. They're not, and they're going to make it a requirement if you're a US citizen that you have health coverage, and you have a digital ID. Now, if you don't have a digital ID, then you're going to lose your health insurance, but you're not going to be required to have a digital ID to retain your health coverage. And that's a huge positive for the Christian community in the next several years. So just on that note, the average person that you would be speaking this over, you would be saving them an incredible amount of money. And any payment coming in, you would get somewhere between 4% and 8% of the total payment amount. So be like a small tithe from the individual every month, month after month, whether they showed up to church or not. That would come in as a donation payment from ACN or Impact, as a commission for referring a parishioner to Impact. And that's the premise that pastors are utilizing, whether small or large. It's just a way for either a pastor or a church, depending on how they structure it. For about every 100 parishioners, the average income would be about $4,000 a month. And then they freed up additional money that they could tithe for the first time. And so talking about the elements of being able to tithe, and or because they don't have money, well, now they're going to have extra money. We just yesterday signed up 2 people here out in California. Both of them were saving $3,000 a month and $3,300 a month, families. And that's an average of the cost of insurance for a family out here in California is like between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. So that's it. It's a quick and easy presentation. Do you have any questions for me?
I do. I wrote them on my phone as you were going through.
Excellent.
And don't get mad at me for asking these questions.
It's not.
If you accept everyone, well, I'm saying that for a reason. If you accept everyone, then you accept LGBTQ people, right?
Yep.
Okay. You accept illegal immigrants?
We accept an illegal immigrant that has a tax ID number and an identification, because the structure requires that they have the ability to open up a personal account at Impact so they can hold the funds to make disbursements to other family members from those accounts. So yes is your answer.
But you won't support gender change. I'm just trying to.
They do not make payments towards changing what God has granted,
Okay,
or what God has gifted, which is a baby. They will not support abortion or changing man's ideas of what God, like God made a mistake. He didn't make a mistake in creating a man or woman, I believe.
I agree too. I'm
Yeah.
just asking these questions.
No, they're fair.
So if you accept LGBTQ, will you allow a family of 2 men raising a child be in your health sharing?
They would probably get the coverage separately because of legalities. Maybe some of them might have a legal pretense to be able to receive, but the answer is yes.
Okay. Okay.
But they have to have a legal pretense, which means license. And
Right.
yeah, that's all.
And in Pennsylvania, they license them for marriage.
Yeah. I can't see that being turned down. I've never been asked that question, but I can't see that being turned down because they accept everybody.
Okay. I'm just asking because you're saying about Blue Cross Blue Shield supporting all of this stuff, but yet, and see, I play devil's advocate.
Financially.
But here
Yeah.
you go. You're accepting them to reduce their insurance costs and pay their insurance claim, their medical claims, whether
And-
they're LGBTQ or not.
And be a witness for Christ at the same time, yes.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just being that person
Be that
because
person.
I've listened to many of these sessions that Brian has listened to,
Yeah,
and my mind goes.
I hear you.
So
That's a good mindset.
so you
Yeah,
you
well-
might want to think about how to better deal with those questions.
No,
Not that you
I
didn't
don't-
deal with them
I
well,
think-
but
I don't think I did wrong in dealing with those
No,
questions.
I don't
I need to cater. My feelings don't need to matter. It's a
Right.
matter.
I'm just looking at people saying that the big insurance companies are supporting this LGBTQ stuff.
I didn't say that. I
Guys
said
are,
supporting abortion, paying
Right.
for abortion and paying for
Right.
transgender mutilization of children. Yes, that's what I said. I
right,
didn't say anything about LGBTQ. I don't care about LGBTQ.
okay,
If somebody wants to take that stance, they can do it. A lot of times people automatically correlate that to LGBTQ because LGBTQ's position on it. But I didn't say anything about LGBTQ.
but that was my question
It's a good
about
question.
LGBTQ,
Okay,
so,
we've got other questions, right?
yep.
Okay, couple other questions that were raised recently that she's asked me, and we met with insurance agent yesterday too. And he had a couple of questions along the same lines of what she did. He didn't look into it, but
Yes,
he
he did.
did ask some information. The main one that he brought up was, what happens if Phil Chrysler would die tomorrow? Or if somehow Impact, which is a 5-year-old company, if they had some financial issues and ended up going belly up or whatever, and I, being insured by them, had developed cancer or something, how would I go to another, how would they handle that? Because he was saying you wouldn't be able to go to like Medicare G if you already had that pre-existing condition. In other words, he was just trying to find out what would happen if they went out of business or if the CEO died or something.
Well, things go on, and people do go out of business, but insurance companies go out of business, and
Yeah,
currently Blue Cross Blue Shield keep 4 months of reserves on file. Impact keeps 1 year. Impact has so much in reserves that they are trying to find ways to give people credits towards deductibles. And so they're trying to find ways to give money back because they don't take $1 billion salary and bonus like CEOs of insurance companies.
Well,
Uh,
his point had to do with if Brian would take the senior plan and be there for 3 years and something happened, he could not be written a Medicare supplement if he had cancer because it would be a pre-existing condition. And that was his concern.
Yeah.
In the past, when a couple of insurance companies have gone belly up, they were able to produce a letter indicating that that person or that family or the group of people, whoever, had valid insurance during that time period from 65 till, say, I'm just going to pick 68. And then they were able to still get new insurance because they had a valid plan. Is that something Impact would issue a letter like that?
Correct. But he would have to do is show a payment to Impact for the last several years, and that would be sufficient. Impact qualifies. As a matter of fact, out here in California, if you do not have insurance, there's penalties of X amount of dollars, and Impact qualify all the way across the board, in all the states except New Jersey. In New Jersey, it's just something about private healthcare, but we just have people get a New York address and then they can get coverage in New Jersey.
Right. The other question was, and you brought this up with me once, and he did yesterday too. I thought I answered it with her properly, but basically the question, the issue was, well, okay, what if Impact ends up not paying somebody's bill, and could the member then sue them or sue like me as a referral agent? And
They can't sue
basically,
you as a referral agent, though. You didn't do anything wrong. The member
right,
can sue Impact all day long. They're a 501c, so they're a corporation like every other one. They're not hidden, from suit. But again, they have paid every bill. Unlike Blue Cross Blue Shield, they have paid every bill for 5 years, and they go above and beyond in meeting the customer's expectations that fit within the guidelines. If you have cancer and you're coming to Impact, you're not getting health coverage. That's a pre-existing. But if you try to get it with anybody else, you'd have to wait 10 years. With Impact, you only have to wait 3 years from the time you were exonerated of cancer. Impact is by far, if the money is being spent right, it's a model that works. It's an absolute model that works. You just can't have a CEO pulling $1 billion out of it every month or a year, or whatever, like the big insurance companies do. And that's why the big insurance companies are fighting to, if you go to Kaiser, I know of doctors at Kaiser who are rewarded bonuses for not doing required surgeries for patients. And I said that correctly. And so Blue Cross Blue Shield, same thing. People are bonused, or customers are just negated, and premiums that are made, they're not paying claims. And so Impact doesn't have one of those. Go look, not one. So to answer would haves and could have questions with a company where the CEOs and presidents have already made money, Phil Chrysler, go look him up. They don't need to make money on this. They're trying to help and make an impact, which is why they called the company to what they did, in the community, and taking thousands of dollars of unnecessary premiums to the end users off the table, and they use technology to do it. And I don't think I ever said it to you, Lori. The technology they utilize, just one of the 7 patents is a settlement claims technology where they're, and I'm guessing here because I haven't looked it up, but where they're using a blockchain and an EDS type system where it electronically immediately contracts upon receipt of the claim of $500,000. And we've seen bills like this. They get reduced immediately to 5 to 25% on an average, just the hospital bills, the in-state type bills. They get reduced to 5 to 25% because they have to. Those claims are generally overpriced. An Advil does not cost $30. And so with the bill reduction automation, the patent that they have, instead of keeping all that money, Impact gives it back to the customer. And so what would cost Blue Cross Blue Shield does not cost Impact. And those hospitals, because Blue Cross Blue Shield are not a 501c3 and Impact is, my guess from an accounting perspective standpoint, that the hospitals are saying yes to this all day long because they're getting the deductions. They're getting the loss deduction due to the fact that Impact is a 501. Now, I don't know that for certain, but nevertheless, they're doing it, and their claims are paid within 15 days versus Blue Cross Blue Shield a year and a half, which is what we hear about Blue Cross Blue Shield. So The would-haves and could-haves, you know, when I talk to insurance agents and they believe in what they sell, I get it. You know, but I can't talk hypotheticals um about with somebody when we're crushing their monthly premium. Your worst case scenario, you know, if you got a family of four and you're paying 3 grand a month and now you're saving $2,500 a month, you take the $10,000 deductible and you put the $2,400 a month into an account, a health like you have, just put that into your own private account. And within 4 months, you've got a 10K reserve for their deductible. So your out of pocket is zero. Your next 2 months, you got the 10% of the 100%, which is the co-share, put into the account. So now you're 0-0. And the amount of money that you're saving on a monthly basis from that point forward, you know, do what you want. You know, you can keep putting it into the health savings account and and still be blowing away Blue Cross Blue Shield in a cost, and say the company does go out of business, which I can't see it happening unless there's an impropriety of funds being dispersed, which, you know, that happens in companies. Um, but and not all private health companies are the same. You know, you look at Samaritan, you look at these ones that are out there, some make you pay in front out of pocket. You know, you go and get a checkup and you got a $5,000 bill because you had a little gray dot on your arm and they wanted to burn it off, and took you 2 or 3 hours in a hospital and a Novocaine shot. And next thing you know, you literally $5,000. Um, you know, those are the types those are the types of things that we don't necessarily want to run into, but they're very real. But now you have a ton of cash saved up in a health savings account versus having given it over to Blue Cross Blue Shield. And if the company were to go out of business and not pay the claim, you could easily afford it because your savings is so amazing every month. So I look at things a little bit differently because I can't do a hypothetical doesn't make sense. The would-haves and could-haves to make a bigger statement or argument that that's a good reason for you to stay paying 3 grand a month as a family to Blue Cross, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the
Every
would-haves, could-haves can be very scary if somebody gets sick in that gap period and then can no longer be covered anywhere.
yeah,
That's scary because that $10,000 that you had in that pocket
goes
is
quick.
gone in a month.
Yeah, it goes quick. I agree. But the reality is if you go to a hospital for anything, you know, and if for me, just so that you understand, Lori, how I think, and this isn't the predominant portion of the nation, so I will agree with you. But I'm not ever going to go to a hospital for cancer. Never. I'll go for the diagnosis. But I'm going to go on a fast. I'm going to go on a sugar-free diet. I'm going to eat raw foods, and I'm going to crush that cancer in 4 to 6 months.
I get it. I get it. I understand. I do a lot of that research in my spare time between 9 PM and 11 PM. I do have one other question though.
Yes, ma'am.
When I was married before, I had my own health insurance and my husband had his own, and sorry, I have to do it this way to explain it. He had his health insurance. When we both hit our deductibles, I could use his health insurance as a secondary and he could use mine. Does Impact allow you to do that? So
That's a
say
good question.
I have a $5,000 bill. I've met my $2,500 deductible. Brian's met a $2,500 deductible with Impact, and I have another $2,500 to spend. Can I send that bill to Impact if I'm covered under him? And have Impact pay it?
Can you send a bill that is his bill or your bill?
No, my bill.
Are you talking about having both?
Yes.
Okay, she's talking about having like Impact also with what
Well,
she had.
there are people out there that will keep two because it's so inexpensive. Whether or not that's allowable, I don't know. It's a great question from a standpoint of the way that you're asking it. But here's the funny thing. Medicare at 65, Parts A and B are required. Anything outside of that is covered by impact at $100 a month, a roundabout, and $1,000 PRA deductible. So they're doing the same thing with Medicare that you're asking. They're saying, we have two health insurances. Would you allow for us to operate under both of them? And here's the funny thing. I don't know why Impact wouldn't want to, because if a client is willing to pay for two health premiums and the other insurance is picking up one half, and then they only have to pick up a certain amount, I don't know why they wouldn't. But I can't clearly give you an answer, but I'll look it up for you, or Brian will look it up for you, and we'll let you know.
Okay.
I don't know if he ever told you, but I was an insurance agent before I
Yeah.
passed. So,
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. You're asking the right questions. And
and what
these are
happens,
the types of questions that are the nuancy questions you need to know anyway, so I'm glad you're asking them.
and what happens if, like in our case, he's eligible for Medicare, so he can go on the senior plan
Right.
and he's got whatever the deductible is. And I'm not eligible for Medicare because I'm not old enough for it. And I want to get an impact policy. I would have to get my own with a $2,500 deductible, correct? And then he has his senior
Because
one
his-
with
because his
$1,000 deductible.
Correct, that's why.
Okay,
Yeah, because he is doing a co-share with Medicare and has a lower deductible. Fortunately for your parishioners, the deductible's for the whole house versus Blue Cross Blue Shield. Some policies, Blue Cross Blue Shield has a whole house deductible, but very rare. It's normally 5 or 10 or whatever per person deductible. Impact is a whole house deductible, but there's that variable once you have to do a shared insurance kind of a thing with Medicare. Yeah, Medicare is Obamacare, are not the same, but it's a supplemental. But the bottom line is, for your parishioners, it's a very helpful thing that they all are operating under one PRA. And then that for you guys, he is benefiting on the fact that, his deductible is much lower and his premium is really outstanding, and he still gets to pick any doctor he wants, and he still gets all the other benefits of that. So yeah, you guys would end up with separate policies as seniors or in your position that you're in right now. But the policies really separately, the only benefit is being together is the sharing of the deductible.
Mhm.
Because the premium is about the same.
Do you have any other questions about how it would work for the church, like the group program? Do you have any questions about that? How to set it up, how to
no,
manage
other than
it?
90% of my people are on Medicare already.
Well, and the other part of this, though, is that the church is not limited to only including parishioners. I mean, it could be parishioners' friends or family members or another church or anyone in the community in the neighborhood or something, right? I mean, they could all go under the church's plan setup.
Yeah, and you can even market it to that degree, meaning you could have that IBO structure set up and just say, look, we are going to cover you guys, and this is how this works, and this is the premium amount for a family. We have a table at the back if you're interested and you want to get this, but the average savings is this, and you're able to vote with your dollars, and they're not going to participate in certain things that maybe you don't believe as a parishioner. And let them go to the back and get a quote and get that all worked out in their head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or if someone in the church has their children at a private school or something, potentially the school could come in, maybe under the church, right? Or another church
It's,
even.
it's all in, it's all in the words and the wordplay. Anybody can participate, Brian. We just need to help them understand, do they, if there's one thing about having a group of people working at the church, and you can get that group invoiced through the church itself, or you can have the group sign up with a link that the church, purchase with an IBO, and then have the people, the pastors or the parishioners now can come and participate under that link and qualify and get under and use these terms because it is a group. Have group health rates through our community up to 70% off going anywhere individually, and we would have a link and a table for you to answer all your questions in the back.
One other question that came up because of thinking about the groups, my families in my church. What age group does a child have to get their own policy with you guys? 27?
Mhm.
Okay.
And
What if
and
they're 25 and living outside of the house? Then they still have to get, do they have to get their own if they're outside of the house?
they have an address still at the house through Impact, and yes, they can get on the policy.
Okay,
Like I have a daughter off at college, and the only thing they care about is if she is able to get mail through Impact at my house.
okay.
So, yeah, and that's actually pretty neat too, because there's a lot of families out there with more than three. And the husband, the wife, and the first child are the only ones being charged. So if you have a family of 8, there's 7 kids that are free. That's a huge Benny.
Hmm.
Huge Benny. But I'm gonna Brian, you and I need to talk, and we need to call the Impact and ask a couple of key questions for your wife and
Okay.
finish that up for her. And then if you guys need of anything else, let us know. But I'm gonna take a copy of this and make sure you Lori, have a copy for your review later, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You
Great,
got it.
thank
God
you.
bless you guys. No problem. Have a great day, guys.
God bless you
Okay.
too.
Bye.